Hi, I'm Midwife Asia.
And I'm Midwife Katie Bueller.
And we're so excited that you're here today with us. And we're so glad that you're inviting us in on this journey with you today. And we're here to talk about...
It's actually the most important thing that no one else is talking about, that you want to prepare for after your baby.
That's right.
Before your baby's born. So we want to prepare for the postpartum before your baby gets here.
That's right.
Yeah.
And what are we preparing?
The most important thing that you can prepare for in those days postpartum is rest.
Rest.
And this probably sounds obvious to you. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to introduce you to a new concept. The idea is 40 days of rest.
That's
40
a lot of days.
It's a lot of days. And to the average American woman, because we see many of them in our practice, we know that sounds ridiculous and why and yeah, like what's
Impossible.
the point? So we're going to talk a little bit about why you might want to do that, what difference it'll make in your life,
mm-hmm.
and how you can make that happen.
So what are some of those ways that you can do that? And why? Why though?
Why? So before we talk about how, let's talk about why. In most cultures around the world, mm-hmm. Japan, Italy, France, Switzerland, China, India, Mexico, Indonesia, yeah. Everywhere except the United States, pretty much. It's a standard for women to rest for 40 days after they have a baby.
It seems like such a long time, though, doesn't it?
I don't know, it sounds really good to me.
I mean, it sounds incredible right about now. Absolutely.
I would love to just lay in bed with my new naked baby for 40 days.
But why 40 days? Why 40?
40 is basically 6 weeks postpartum, right?
Okay.
7 times 6 is 42.
Wow, I never did the math.
So
makes sense. And that
you're welcome.
Technically is when your body is hopefully back to normal.
Right. And that's actually the whole point. The more that you can rest in those 40 days postpartum, the more that your body can go back to normal. So if you think about the way that gravity is pulling on the uterus after you have a baby, the uterus is trying to go back into its normal position. All the organs are trying to go back into their normal positions. But if you're standing up all the time, the way that they will go is down.
Right.
Until all those muscles rejuvenate and come back together, they won't be holding things in place until about 6 weeks postpartum.
And I believe that it's actually true that it takes an entire year to actually get your body back to homeostasis.
Right.
Which is back to normal health.
Right. So in that first 6 weeks, though, the body is uniquely set up, and this is understood. For example, in Japan, they feed the mom only nourishing, warm foods, the same in India. No cold foods, no ice drinks.
Right.
Everything needs to be warm because that's better for the digestion. It helps everything that you eat go into your body in a more complete way.
That's right.
And then also, while we're talking about it, in places like India and Japan, they recognize that a mom that gets a really nourished postpartum is fully ready to go and be a mom. And it takes a big transformation for women to go from either no children to one child or one child to 2 children. However many it is, it's a big transition from being pregnant and then all of a sudden you're nursing a baby 24 hours a day.
And taking care of a toddler.
Sometimes also taking care of a toddler or 2 or 3 kids.
Right. And
so this 40 days in a perfect world, or in cultures where this is recognized, that 40 days is nurtured. So your mother-in-law comes or your mother comes, another female family member comes, who recognize the importance of this, and they help do the dishes, they help do the laundry, they help take care of older kids, they get other kids off to school.
They make food.
And they make food.
Right.
So that the nursing mom just is in bed, nursing her baby, getting up and going to the bathroom, eating, and resting.
But what if you don't have that mother-in-law figure in your life?
It is so true, Asia. It is so true. It is so not. We want to acknowledge that in our culture in America, our moms are still working.
It's hard. It's really hard.
It would take a lot for us to get a woman to come and hang out with us for 40 days after we have a baby.
Right.
And so what we want to say to you is we understand that depending on your finances and your family, we live in San Diego where everybody's a transplant. And so it just isn't feasible for some people to like lay in bed for 40 days with their baby.
Right.
But if you think about the importance of it, if you recognize that it really does make a difference. In India, they say those 40 days impact the next 40 years.
That's amazing. 40 years. How
40
could that
years. Because all of that nourishing, instead of getting nourished in that time, if you're up and doing things, your body is having to expend all that healing energy in all of these other ways and not internally nourishing your body back to normal health.
That's so amazing.
It's so amazing. So while we want to acknowledge that that won't necessarily be easy for all of us, that if you hear this and this inspires you and this makes you think, oh, that could be me, maybe that's what I want to try to create for myself, that we have some tools and tips for you to implement whatever part of that is possible in your life.
Yeah, and so one of the things that we really highly recommend prenatally is to create some kind of meal prep for yourself so that you have freezer meals postpartum.
Because you know what you like to eat.
That's right. And you know what your family likes to eat too.
And before you have your first baby, you have a lot more time than you will after you have your first baby.
Exactly.
So meal prepping.
Meal prepping. And then another thing that we recommend is that you are not afraid to ask for help.
Is that a joke?
No. Why?
I'm not very good at asking for help. Are you?
I am now.
You are
now
now.
that my daughter's 8 years old, I'm much better at asking for help. But when I had
You
my
have
daughter,
actually asked me for help.
I have.
You
probably.
have actually texted me on days when like you were sick and said, "Can you please bring me some pho?"
Yeah, you brought me pho.
I've brought you pho.
That was nice.
Yeah.
I don't think I asked you though. I think you asked me if you could bring me anything.
I would like to think that's true.
And I probably was like, hell yeah. Bring me some pho.
Yes,
So,
I need it.
But I had postpartum anxiety and postpartum depression, and I actually had a friend living with me at the time, and she was a very motherly figure, and she really wanted to help take care of the baby, and she wanted to go to the baby every time the baby was crying, and I felt really guarded and protective of my baby. It was a very strange sensation that I didn't anticipate that I would feel, and having looked back and thought about it a lot, I realized that I should have asked her to help make food or do the damn dishes instead of reach for the baby.
The laundry is driving me crazy. Can you just pick the laundry up and take it and wash it and put it in the dryer for me?
Yeah. So everybody's got a different experience and everybody has a different home life, but we want you to be able to ask for help when somebody comes over to ask what you need. Ask them to do the dishes.
That's actually one thing that you might need to put in place before you can call people and ask them for help is community.
Absolutely.
And we don't, in America today, most of us, at least here in San Diego, we live in broken communities, right? So we don't have generations of family. We don't have generations of friends because a lot of people in San Diego are transplants.
Right.
And maybe where you live it's the same, I don't know. But basically you're trying to create community. If you want this beautiful 40 days to rest and recover, to start to think about how to create that community before your baby gets here.
Absolutely. It's so important. Community is so important.
And if you can't, because you are getting this video 3 days before you give birth, know that as you are going into this time, you can continue to ask those who are already in your vicinity, friends, family, for help, like we were saying. But really, if you have time before your baby gets here, think about how you can form more community. What are those people going to look like after you have your baby?
And one of our rules of thumb that we like to tell our clients is to spend 5 days in the bed, 5 days on the bed, and 5 days around the bed. And don't go to Target.
And don't go to Target. We love Target.
We do.
But getting up and going to Target is spending a lot of energy. So that's a great place actually somebody would probably love to help you with. People like to go to Target.
Absolutely.
So ask them to go get the diapers. Ask them to go get the nipple shields. Ask them to go get whatever it is that you're needing. Grocery shopping.
Or order it online. And we want to thank you so much for watching with us today. We want to keep in mind that we have your best interest and your family's best interest always in mind when we're giving you information and talking about topics.
One of the great honors of being a midwife is getting to be on the journey with families at this really precious time in your life, and to have enough information that's evidence-based that we can offer it to you, and then you can decide what you like and what sounds right for you. We think that we're offering an alternative perspective to what most American women are getting today, and so that's what we're offering you, and then we know that you'll choose from that very wise place within yourselves.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Hi, we're midwife Katie Bueller.
And Katie Asia.
You did that on purpose.
I swear to God, I did not do that on purpose.
Bye. Bye.
What are we going to say? Amber, what should we say?